Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, readers of all persuasions. It is I, Gayla, and welcome back to Book and Cork and Caffeinated. And today is a Books and Caffeinated morning. So I'm drinking my coffee out of my Tabitha Brown cup. It says coffee, coffee business, because you know everything is her business. So we're drinking some coffee from New Orleans this morning. And I have to hurry up and do this video because I have to post it in a few minutes. But let's take a sip and let's get started. So let's take a sip. That's really good. You guys know I don't use regular creamer. I use my Premier protein because I'm a woman of a particular age and I need some protein. So I use the vanilla creamer in my coffee. So it's good. I've gotten used to it. Anywho, you are here to see what I have read this month. So I was able to read 7 books this month. It was a good month. May was a good month. May was a busy month. So the fact that I got 7 books in was awesome. I think all 7 though. One book I started reading and then I finished up with the audio. I think all the books that I read this month was audio. Not that I didn't even have the physical book. It's just that, like I said, May was super, super busy. And so I did a lot of reading in the car, to and fro, like I usually do. So let's get started. The first 3 books, I think 4 books I'm gonna throw on the screen. Because those were books I actually did not have. Well, 3 of them I didn't have. 1 I had, I can't find it. Anywho, the first book I read, I'm going to use my iPad to help me out because I don't have all the things in front of me, was A Soldier's Wife. My Mother, the Marvelous Mrs. Marilyn A. Underwood. This book was written by Blair Underwood, and it was a biography, memoir, and tribute to his mom, and it was a great read. So this was the first book I read in May, ironically, because it's Mother's Day. It's in the month of May, and my mother's really good friend told me about it. She told me about it the day he was doing a signing in Manhattan, and I couldn't go because I didn't know about it, and I had clients that night. And so I said, let me pick it up. And it was such an enjoyable read to read something about a parent. You can tell he authentically, truly, unequivocally loved her. Like, he was like, this is my mom, this is her story, it deserved to be told. And so this was a great heartwarming read. He read some of it. I'm almost sure his sister read some of it, but they worked with someone to complete it. Mom had really been working on it herself, and for it to come full circle even after her passing, it was like a great memory for their family. So it was a really good read. I really suggest to read it if you want to just learn about someone who was authentically themselves, loved their family, supported their family, and was a true ladies' lady. So that was a great book. The next book I read, When I Think of You, by Maya Ariel, was she also wrote No Ordinary Love, which I read a couple of weeks ago. But this particular book was about 2 people, kind of like second chance romance. They went to film school together, and he became big at what he did, and she became a receptionist at this production company, wasn't really happy about it, quit all the things, and she winds up working for him on a production, second chance romance, in proximity, all the things, lovey-dovey, whatever. But it was a good love story. It was like one of those things you use to clean your palate to move on to the next thing. Then the next book I read was Parachutes. It was book 1 in the fall series by Terica Allen. And this book was really, really steamy. It was a book kind of like First Love, and it was my book club read, actually. And so I read it because I had to, not because I had to. You don't have to read the books, but I love to read the books that are presented in my book club, even if I don't show up for the book club meeting. But this was basically about 2 people falling in love and trying to navigate falling in love and being their full selves, but also exploring what that looks like outside of one another. And the reason why it's called Parachute is because that was kind of their thing, making promises to one another about love and say, I would be your parachute. So it was cute. I wouldn't have read it if I wasn't in this book club, so I'm glad that I did read it. And that's why I'm also glad to be a part of book clubs, because you come across books and genres you really wouldn't have read outside of your norm. And so the next one comes out in a couple of months, so I'm super, super excited about completing this series, so you'll hear more from me about that. Then, let's see. Then I read Restore Me. Oh my God. So this is the New Haven series by J.L. Sears. My first read by J.L. Sears, and I am so excited about this. This is a 6-book series. I actually have 1, 2, 3 of them thus far. And this book was super, super good. This was about Sloan and Dominic. So Sloan and Dominic fall in love and was not expecting to. So Sloane's husband and Dominic were best friends. They grew up together. They all went to college together. Sloan and her husband got married. A couple of years into their relationship, their marriage, he was killed in a car accident. I should have told that. I hate when people spoil the bigger thing of it all. But he was killed in a car accident. And Dominic and Sloan have been like back and forth for years, arguing, not really one another's favorite people. And then they get together. They get together unexpectedly on a work project. And I'm not going to tell the other part because that would really super spoil it. You see how big this is. Oh my God. But it was super, super worth the read. I'm so excited to read the others in the series. So I read half of it, and then I wanted to get through it through the month of May, so I wound up listening to the rest of it. This was a great read. It's steamy. So if you like to see me lit, this is one of it. But it was a great love story. It really was. And then the next book, 2 books I read, is in a part of a series as well. I finished it up. So Casey Mills, the Collective, and I read Shadows and Whispers last month. Shadows and Whispers. And then so this month I completed the series. I did not read them. As you can see, they're really still in pristine condition, and so I listened to them with my ears. But Dawning and Resurgence is the second one. And then this one, it's been like a couple of weeks, so let me get it together. This one was with Ezekiel, and I forgot the FMC, but they were families. They were both in families, arranged marriages. They got out of these marriages. They didn't really want to be in the marriages, but it's kind of like a mini mafia series, I say, where families come together to gain territories. But their marriages sucked. They were arranged. I think Ezekiel got the end of the worst of the thing. The shortest end of the stick is because I think his wife was in love with someone else. So he was like, I'm out. And actually he did her dirty. Well, he didn't do her dirty. The families did one another dirty. He got to have all of her property. So she wanted a clean divorce, and he was like, you can have it, but you have nothing else with your family's business. So it was good. It was like a romance, but it also had a little mafia-esque thing to it, so I really enjoyed that. And then I followed that up with the ending, Emergence and Ascendance, about another 2 other characters. So all of these stories are interconnected, but you can read them standalone. So this one was about 2 characters, also 2 families. They both didn't marry for love, and then now they're trying to marry for love. So this one was quite interesting though, because this involved BDSM, and these 2 characters met at a club, and they didn't know they were going to wind up working together. And so that was interesting. And so, yeah, it was cool. If you don't like BDSM, you may not want to read this. That's a warning for you. That's not necessarily my thing, but I don't think it was a lot in here with that, but it was the way they presented it was which I think is the thing with that lifestyle, is consent. And they were and Casey Mills was very, I think, mindful of that and structured it where you saw the consent in everything they did. So even when they were in the midst of that type of sexual activity or intimacy, it didn't feel overwhelming. For a person like me, that's not their thing, or read about that as often. So it was actually a really good love story, and learn some things about a different subject matter that I didn't know before. So these are the 7 books that I read. I had a very unique reading month. Like, I started off with the Blair Underwood story and then morphed into all these romances that had a little twist to them. So this was a really good reading month. I really enjoyed it. I wish I would have read a couple of more books. I was trying to get to 10. I don't know what I'm going to do in June. I just posted my TBR for June. And it's already June 8th. I think today's the 7th. Already a week has gone by. So this is the month is going by, but I think I have a little bit more time to read some more really good books for the summer, because I in education, so I don't work July and August. Also, I'm not trying to read a bunch of books just to read a bunch of books. I really enjoy reading. It's just that so many books I want to get through. So I really, am tackling my physical TBR and my current books. So I will be reading a lot. I will be doing some challenges, like how many books I can read in a day. A 12-hour challenge, a 24-hour challenge, a weekly challenge. So those things are coming, because I just have the time in the summer to do that. It just allows you around the pool and around the house and do all of the things. I also got to clean up my book area, as you can see a little bit. So the month of May was cool, and I'm looking forward to the rest of the summer, where I have more time to enjoy and sit down and really engulf my books in a way that is enjoyable. So that being said, like, do all of the things. I did forget about making my TBR for books that you suggest. So make sure you suggest a book, drop a book stack, suggest a book, and do all the other things. Like, comment, subscribe. And I'll see you next video. Deuces. Bye. Hey, it's Gayla. I'm back. I forgot about a book. Oh my good. Accidentally in Love by Danielle Jackson. I read this book as well. This book was about a young lady who had a photography business. It's based on like the boudoir theme. And then she met a guy who was a chef and got some exposure by doing food trucks, and then they got together. I like this book because it talks about full-figure women and being loved on. I don't know why I forgot about this book, but anywho, Accidentally in Love by Danielle Jackson was also on May Books Reads. Enjoy.